Hi everybody, this is Kevin Tompkins, and today we're going to go through our best waiver wire ads for week 2 in our lightning quick 5-minute waivers. Sam Darnold goes up against the New Orleans Saints in week 2. Sam Darnold has 4 legitimate playmakers in his offense and threw for almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns last week against the New York Jets. He's looked much better than people thought in Joe Brady's offense, and after this week's game at home against the Saints, in which you're likely not starting him, he does go on the road to face the Houston Texans and Dallas Cowboys. I would pick him up, not play him this week, but at least you know you have 2 awesome matchups for Darnold to start in. The Philadelphia Eagles running back Kenny Gainwell. So Kenny Gainwell carved out a role after the Boston Scott noise this offseason. He did finish as an RB2 in week 1 after 43 all-purpose yards, 2 catches, and a touchdown. Should have had 2 touchdowns. He had 1 called back, but he could be the NFC's version of Nyheim Hines with Nick Sirianni, who coached Nyheim Hines in Indianapolis. So keep him on your bench if you do get him. He's somebody that can provide a floor, and if something does happen to Miles Sanders, that's somebody worth having, and you got him ahead of the game. My next waiver ad is Elijah Mitchell for the San Francisco 49ers. Mitchell did rack up 104 yards and a touchdown on 19 attempts in week 1 in a game where Raheem Mostert went down with a knee injury and Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch. Mitchell did seem like the favorite compared to JaMycal Hasty, and as with any running back in the Kyle Shanahan system, it's a fluid situation, but like I said, Mitchell looks like the top option right now in the 49ers backfield. JaMycal Hasty, like I said, will mix in too. He is also worth a speculative ad, but I would prioritize Mitchell over Hasty right now. My next waiver ad for week 2 is Terrace Marshall Jr. for the Carolina Panthers. He'll be playing the New Orleans Saints in week 2. It's worth noting that he did carve out 6 targets and running a route on just over 60% of dropbacks for the Carolina Panthers. So when he's out there, he's being targeted 26% of the time, which is an excellent number when you're looking at targets per route run. That kind of usage is pretty encouraging, and while it didn't show up in the stat sheet with weapons like DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, and Robbie Anderson, Marshall could get lost in the shuffle when it comes to defense's game planning against this offense. So him factoring in, I do like that as a speculative ad for fantasy. My next wide receiver waiver wire ad is Jalen Reagor for the Philadelphia Eagles, who plays the San Francisco 49ers at home this week. Reagor caught all 6 of his targets for 49 yards and a touchdown on the other side of rookie Devonta Smith, who had a great game in his own right. So he's already getting the stink of a bad rookie season behind him. Reagor played almost 70% of snaps, and with defensive attention going toward Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Devonta Smith, and those tight ends, Reagor could continue to carve out a consistent role in this Eagles offense as long as Jalen Hurts is playing great. Reagor is a must add for me. My next waiver wire ad comes from the tight end position. That's Juwan Johnson for the New Orleans Saints, who will play Carolina in Carolina next week in week 2. Johnson only played 10 snaps in week 1, but parlayed his 3 targets into 2 touchdowns in their blowout of the Packers. A converted wide receiver, Juwan Johnson should at least grow his role from this week 1 performance and not just be that red zone threat for the Saints. We know that the Saints need pass catchers now more than ever. Even with Adam Troutman there, I still think Juwan Johnson is definitely worth an ad at a thin position in tight end in fantasy. And last but not least with my waiver wire ads is Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz played 70% of the snaps for the Dallas Cowboys in their Thursday night game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He gets the Chargers in week 2 in Los Angeles. With Michael Gallup out multiple weeks, that just condenses the high volume passing game a little bit more, but I do think Dalton Schultz, with his 6 catches for 49 yards in week 1, can certainly at least produce that or expand a little bit more on that. With Dak Prescott, we know he's going to throw the football a ton. So continuing the momentum of last season where he was fantasy's tight end 14 when Blake Jarwin got hurt early, I like Dalton Schultz as a speculative ad for the tight end position.